Yatra naryastu pujyante, ramante tatra devatah. Yatraitastu na pujyante, sarvastatraPhalaah kriyaah. What does this mean, Amma?
This Subhashitha is taken from Manu Smriti. The word meaning yatra, where naryastu, women, are pujyante, respected or worshipped, ramante, play, tatra, there, dhevathaah, the gods, yatra, where yatraitastu, these people, the women, na pujyante, are not worshipped, sarvaha, everything, tatra, there, aphalah, unsuccessful, kriyaah, activities. The translation goes like this: where women are worshipped or respected, the gods seem to be playing there. That means everything good is happening. Where women are not worshipped, no activity can be done successfully.
Hi, Madhavi and Malini. I have a small little quiz for both of you. This is about the divine voice of India. Now, I think that should be a clue, but here we go again. This person won the Padma Bhushan Award in the year 1954. Do we have any takers? In 1956, she won the Sangeet Natak Akademi Award for Carnatic classical music. Any guesses now? In 1974, she won the Ramon Magsaysay Award for public service through music. In 1976, she was the first musician to win the Padma Vibhushan.
M.S. Subbulakshmi.
That's right. She also won in 1988 the Kalidas Samman Award for classical music. And in 1998, she won the Bharat Ratna, the first ever Bharat Ratna for a musician. And her name is Madurai Shanmukha Vadivu Subbulakshmi. That's M.S. Subbulakshmi.
I would say she is an idol and a great teacher to millions, directly and indirectly.
And it's also believed that the gods wake up to her music every morning.
Yes, Archith, that's absolutely right. We hear this in so many households all around us, in our neighborhood as well. I hear this very commonly, even in this bakery that I go to. If I'm one of his first customer or the very first customer of the day, whoever is serving me there asks me, can I pay in cash? Any other time of the day, they don't ask me that. So I pay through a digital mode. So one day I asked them, why do you ask me only in the mornings? He said, the very first set of notes that they get from a customer, they offer it to the god. So they say, my puja is not done. Basically, their Lakshmi puja is not done. That's the reason they're waiting for the first customer to give them cash. Unfortunately, I never have cash because I believe in the digital world. But speaking of Lakshmi, did you know that Lakshmi had a sister called Alakshmi?
Wow.
Yes. I found this interesting story that is from the time of the Samudra Manthana itself. During the Samudra Manthana, when the Devas and the Asuras churned the cosmic ocean, a lot of things came out of the ocean. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. Whatever good things they got, they also got the equivalent bad things of that, so that there is balance in the cosmos. During this Samudra Manthana, Alakshmi was the first person to come out. Then Lakshmi came out. Alakshmi is the goddess of misfortune. She's supposed to be the elder sister of Lakshmi. So she's also called as Jyeshtha Devi. They always say that Lakshmi and Alakshmi are sisters who follow each other. So Alakshmi comes first, you have to work harder, get over your misfortune, and that's when you reap your fortunes. This is the literal meaning of like yatra naryastu pujyante, where all these shopkeepers and many small business owners who have the traditional mindset start their day by worshipping Goddess Lakshmi.
Speaking of goddesses, I'm now going to share a story about a human goddess who had the power to change the way the world works. I'm talking about this one lady in Germany who was on a journey, a 106-kilometer journey to be precise, that took her 12 hours to traverse in her carriage. Now, the specialty about this carriage was that it was a horseless carriage, and it meant a completely new way in which the world would look at locomotion between places. This is the journey that changed everything. Bertha Benz, the wife of Carl Benz, who manufactured the first ever petrol car, was actually the first to use Carl's invention to travel these 106 kilometers in the horseless carriage, which was also considered witchcraft in those days because they didn't understand how the carriage was moving. She was the one who traversed these 12 hours and introduced it to the world. As and when she completed the journey, all the people who saw her during this journey were the ones who were inspired to make similar such journeys for their necessities. The story goes that Bertha Benz was trying to get to the doctor for one of her sons because he needed treatment. And in those 12 hours, she was able to not only complete an arduous journey, but was also able to inspire millions and was able to efficiently change the course of the way in which the world works. So here's to Goddess Benz.
Respecting women and empowering women is not at all a new idea. We see many women commanded a lot of respect even in our scriptures. The first one that comes to my mind is the Vasishtha Arundhati couple. In Hindu customs, young couples on the day of the wedding at night are taken outside and shown the Vasishtha Arundhati nakshatras. In international astronomy, the Vasishtha nakshatra is Mizar and the Arundhati nakshatra is Alcor. They are both in the Great Bear or the Ursa Major constellation, which we in our Hindu scriptures call the Saptarishi Mandala. The speciality of these two stars, it's a dual star system. Generally, when there are dual stars, the minor star will be going around the bigger star. But here, both go around each other in a way that they don't clash. This signifies to the young couple that in marriage, they should be equal, respect each other, and also keep a respectable distance. The other women mentioned in scriptures who commanded great respect were Maitreyi and Gargi. They even have Upanishadic sutras to their credit. Gargi was even honored in Janaka's court. The other most respected woman that I would like to mention here is Ubhaya Bharati, the wife of Mandan Mishra. When Mandana Mishra and Adi Shankaracharya were to have a debate, Adi Shankara himself chose this lady as the moderator. That is her standing. Then again, when Mandana Mishra was defeated by Adi Shankara, Ubhaya Bharati chose to debate with Adi Shankara. Shankara eventually defeated her also, and both of them became followers of Adi Shankaracharya.
Now I'd like to bring our attention to a flying goddess. After a plane ride in an air show, this woman decided that her life's mission was to be a pilot. She's recorded as the first female pilot to fly across the Atlantic and back. She was also the first female to fly around the world, or at least attempt to circumnavigate the world, wherein she spent 10 to 12 hours a day flying in the skies. The person that I'm talking about over here is Amelia Earhart. An ardent follower of Amelia Earhart and her supporter, who eventually became her husband, was George P. Putnam. I'd like to bring our attention to one of the letters shared between Earhart and Putnam, wherein she clearly says that she needs her space and she needs to follow what her heart desires in order for her to be completely happy. It is also said that she refused to be recognized as Mrs. Putnam, and she would only be called as Amelia Earhart. I quote a part of her letter here. I want you to understand, I shall not hold you to any medieval code of faithfulness to me, nor shall I consider myself bound to you similarly. I may have to keep some place where I can go to be myself now and then, for I cannot guarantee to endure at all times the confinement of even an attractive cage. Such was the flying goddess that was Amelia Earhart.
Some of the most worshipped goddesses in our current times are film stars and people in pop music. Recently, Beyonce toured through Sweden and she's said to have increased the GDP of Sweden. How's that possible, you ask? Well, fans from all around the world came down to Sweden to watch her show. And Sweden being a small country, the amount of money tourism poured into the country had such a huge impact on their GDP. So, yatra naryastu pujyante, tatra GDP also raises. One instance of that. Similarly, they're saying that Taylor Swift is now touring the US. And whichever city she's touring through, hotels and everything has been booked out over there. Taylor Swift's tour of the US is also supposed to contribute to the rejuvenation of the US economy. My background is in computer science, so I'm going to talk about the goddesses in computer science. The very first goddess is Ada Lovelace, the mother of algorithms. She was born as Augusta Ada King, the Countess of Lovelace. She was an English mathematician and writer, one of the most well-educated women of her times. While Charles Babbage worked on his analytical engine, she came up with the concept of an algorithm. She realized that computers could do a lot more than just calculate things in the moment, and that's how the algorithm was born. The first algorithm that she created was said to be for generating Bernoulli numbers. Algorithms nowadays rule our lives. Whether it is ChatGPT, whether you found this as a YouTube recommended video, whether Spotify recommended this to you, or you're using your social media feed and this popped up there, an algorithm decided to show this to you. Let's now talk about going beyond the algorithms. The minute you have an algorithm, you next have to implement this and have a compiler. And that brings us to the next goddess, Admiral Grace Hopper, a computer scientist, mathematician, and US Navy admiral. She's credited to have created the first compiler for computer languages. A compiler translates human understanding into the bits, the zeros and the ones that a computer understands. She designed Harvard's Mark I computer, which was a 5-ton computer that filled an entire room back then. She's also credited to have coined the term bug. In computer programming, a bug is when you find an error in the functioning of the code, in the way your program has been created. In her case, there literally was an insect. An insect made parts of the machine non-functional and messed up the algorithm. And that's why it was called a bug. Admiral Grace Hopper's contribution to the field of computer science is still celebrated to this day. She is the inspiration for the annual Grace Hopper Conference, which is a celebration of technology and research and women's contributions to these.
I'm bringing our focus back to the second part of the Subhashitha, which is yatraitastu na pujyante, sarvastatraPhalaah kriyaah. With regard to this, I have this one story about Lakshmi and Alakshmi. Apparently, Lakshmi and Alakshmi went to Narada to find out who among them would Narada like. Narada did not want to displease either of them, and being the diplomatic sage that he was, he said, Alakshmi looks good while going out, and Lakshmi looks good while coming in. Very diplomatic indeed. Food for thought. But in all sincerity, the second part of the Subhashitha talks about how dishonoring, disrespecting, disregarding women could lead to the downfall of not only the person who is doing the act, but also to everybody around him. Let's take the example of Ravana. He started off as nobility, but then as soon as he abducted Sita, he started seeing his downfall. As soon as he started disrespecting women, his kingdom started seeing downfall. And as soon as Rama came to Sita's rescue, and when Ravana said that he will not surrender, he certainly met his downfall.
So that's it for today. Let us know what you think. See you in the next episode.